Welcome to the Scoop, World Order. Happy Friday. Playoff game eve in the Horseshoe. The Tennessee Volunteers are rolling north to play the Ohio State Buckeyes. We're going to take our thoughts, take our swings at it, some predictions for you guys. 5 reasons why Ohio State will dominate Tennessee tomorrow. I cannot wait to get into this. Zed Mikulski jumps in the portal, the latest Buckeye. He's going to stay with us through the playoffs. It's crazy, folks. Again, we add a tackle, lose a tackle. It's kind of what happens with the transfer portal. Again, everybody wants to add, but when you add, you're going to lose some kids too. So Zen is off to greener pastures. We'll talk a little bit about that. Take your questions, as always, on this wonderful Friday. Again, a big thank you to our partners at Twin Peaks and Buffalo Wild Wings. Again, if you guys are looking for a great place to watch the game or get carry out, consider our partners. Buffalo Wild Wings and Twin Peaks are absolutely excellent venues. You can check the game out. They'll be get there early, folks. It's going to be crowded with the playoff games going on. But yeah, it's been an amazing run, an amazing year. We're very thankful. You guys make sure you're safe out there. It's getting a little rainy and crappy out in Columbus. So I know you guys are going to be doing your last minute shopping this weekend, so be careful. But again, we appreciate you guys and all that you guys do. If you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell on the YouTube channel. If you do something awesome for us, a great Christmas gift for Buckeye Scoop is to subscribe to our audio podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Head to the apps, search Buckeye Scoop. It pops right up to the top. Click subscribe. It's absolutely free, and it's a great way to help support us and what we do. Again, we appreciate you guys. As always, going to bring in my good friend Nevada. Nevada, been an interesting little run here with the, we got the Buckeyes. Zen Mikulski hits the portal today. It looks like the window that closes is the 28th. So, I guess teams that are in this first round, they don't get that 7-day window, so it's kind of like now or never to do it. But yeah, interesting timing. But the Buckeyes have a monstrous task tomorrow. It is rainy and crappy out tonight. But what are your thoughts as we are at playoff game eve?
I feel like the Buckeyes are ready. I mean, the Buckeyes, I think the weight of expectations has kind of been lifted off their shoulders. The fan base clearly has low expectations for Ryan Day, for Chip Kelly, for Will Howard, for the offensive line. I keep hearing, well, if we can even score, I don't know if we can even score a touchdown and stuff like that. So I think whenever we get to those spots, those are usually pretty good spots for the Buckeyes to be in, and they're ready. I like the game plan. Been briefed pretty extensively on what they plan to do, and feel. It's a smart plan. It's a smart plan. They got to go out and execute it, but it's an intelligent plan that plays to their strengths and plays the stuff that they feel that they do well and that they can do well against a very good Tennessee defense and defensively. I frankly, the biggest thing that scares me about Tennessee isn't they're all SEC running back and decent passing attack, but it's accounting for the scrambling ability of the quarterback. He's 6'6", 190 pounds, so kind of a tall, thin guy. Actually, ironically enough, I coached against him in flag football when he was a little kid. This is how far back he goes with Nico. He went to Hermosa Valley Middle School. So, but yeah, he's a scrambler, and he can scramble opportunistically. I think he's only gone for 300 yards this year. But that's net of sacks, only 1 rushing TD. But if you give him the opportunity, you don't account for him. He'll rumble around back there. So they've got to account for that. I think you'll see some Caleb Downs action on that. You'll see some Sonny Styles spying, and they're going to try to confound them. And it's going to be a great matchup. I expect it to be a low scoring game. I'm going under on the. I think the total is 47. I think I'm going under that, and I've got the Buckeyes prevailing in a close one. I've got them at 24-17, which is pretty much on the a little bit under the total, but pretty much on the spread. And I just think we're ready. I think we're ready, and I think it's going to be a great night for college. Starts a great night for college football tonight with Indiana at Notre Dame. 3 games tomorrow. But all eyes are going to be on Columbus tomorrow night, and I really think the Buckeyes are going to put a really solid foot forward tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, we're still, a 7-point favorite. It's amazing how pessimistic people are. Like, we're favored. We're at home. Tennessee, we'll do the 5 reasons why they're going. I'll start. Reason number 5 to me is that Tennessee's a different team on the road than they are at home. Obviously, they beat Oklahoma, but they've had a lot of tight games, and they had that bad loss to Arkansas on the road. The shoe's going to be electric tomorrow. They got the laser light show going. They got drones flying around. It's going to be fun, and I think that our defense will feed off of that. I mean, in the game that we just lost to Michigan, like our defense, I thought played really well. I mean, I know that we ended up giving up like 170 yards rushing, but that was on like 30 something carries and 35 carries, 34, whatever it was. And, we 60 yards passing. So I think our defense can suffocate these guys, keep them out of the end zone. Because again, at the end of the day, with Michigan, they scored 16 points. So, we should never lose a game when our defense gives up fewer than 16 points. Like, I'm sorry. The offense kind of, choked it up a little bit for us, but our defense is going to be ready to go. And again, in crappy weather, you gotta get after this quarterback. This quarterback has to get hit early in the game. So if Jim Knowles has to sacrifice some yardage and tune up a blitz so that this quarterback goes down hard early in the game, I'm all for it. Like, you got to tag him early, let him know that this isn't going to be a cakewalk. And we can do that. I mean, guys like Cody Simon have been excellent blitzing. The dime blitz where we bring Lorenzo Styles off the edge has been effective. So got to hit him. Got to affect him, rattle him, make them one-dimensional. Because, I feel good matching up against their one-dimension. They've got an excellent running back, but we can stop the run. We got Caleb Downs as an eraser in the back. He's excellent tackler. So, if that's who they get him to, if he's down in the box, like he's a great ad in the running game. So I feel really good about where we're at because I think our guys they're physical, they're ready. And they've got a shot to win a national title. Again, you have to realize like this is, I don't know how different this is from the the 14 team, but that 14 team, and again, Tennessee is by no means Alabama in 2014. That was the number 1 team in the country, SEC champions. Like, this is a team that lost to Arkansas. So, as much as everyone's terrified of these guys, like, and they're very good, but I think you tempo them, you get the crowd into it on defense, and you let the crowd set the tone. So Nevada, what is reason number 4 of the 5 reasons why Ohio State will beat Tennessee tomorrow?
JJ Smith in the wide receiving core are that's probably our best matchup. I don't think their defensive backs are great, and I think our receiving core is elite. And the OSU staff realizes that they made a huge mistake not finding creative ways to get JJ the ball. And you talk about, hey, how do you get the guy the ball when teams are playing too deep and they're playing bracket coverage? Well, you can run them the ball via orbit motion. You can get them the ball with jet sweeps. You can get them the ball on reverses. You can get them the ball on wide receiver screens. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can get the ball to your playmakers. And I think that they will go to JJ early and often tomorrow. And JJ is the best player on the field. And if you get the best player on the field, a multiple touches, he'll break some. I think that's a big advantage to Ohio State. And then when they start giving this overabundance of coverage to J.J. Smith, you've got a Mecca and Carnell Tate, who are they're not as recognized maybe as J.J. is, but they're tremendous wide receivers. So I think the wide receiver room for Ohio State, the overall strength of the wide receiver room against what I consider to be a good but not great defensive secondary for Tennessee is reason number 4 why Ohio State prevails tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think reason number 3 is going to be the offensive line. The offensive line, there's rumored shuffling. It could be Luke Montgomery starting at left guard and Austin Sarvo going to right guard. There's been a lot of different first lineups out of the gates in practice. So, I think that this is going to be a huge opportunity for Luke. Obviously, these are going to be monumentally tough guys to go against, but I think that our offense recognizes that, hey, you got some young guys in there, you better make it easy on them. Don't make it tough on them. There's a lot of ways to help out the offensive line. You got to chip versus 27 with Donnie. Donnie cannot be put on an island versus Skid. He'll eat him alive. Like Donnie got eaten alive against Penn State in the noise. Thankfully, we're at home, so I think that the intelligence will prevail. Again, if you've got Chip calling the plays, he has to protect Donnie versus 27. And you have to move the pocket. You can't have Will Howard be a static target who just stands behind the center and holds the ball for too long. You got to get rid of it quick. I think To me, the quick game in passing would be monumental. I think that it's something that you got to really enforce in your play calling to get the ball out quick, get it to Emeka, get it to Carnell Tate, especially get it to JJ. And just let those guys do damage, because once they get the ball in their hands, they're as terrifying as any trio in the country. So it doesn't have to be shots, but again, would I like to take some shots deep? Yeah, I'd like to take a shot deep early. Let them know that we're here. Let them know that we've got the bomb and we're ready to use it. I mean, as much as people bang on Will Howard's deep ball process, I mean, the 2 deep balls he threw versus Michigan were absolutely dimes, absolute perfection. And I think that that's something that you need to be aware of, because I think that these guys, they got to take it over the top. Again, they've got one good corner. They got a guy who's lesser. It'll be interesting to see what kind of coverage they do on JJ, but I think eventually he's got to take a shot on it. But if they play a light box, because if I had to guess, I will think they will play a light box, and they'll have 2 deep safeties. And as they go through the whole thing, they're going to think that their front can handle our O-line. So if that's the case, we got to run the ball. You got to run it. That's not just running tight zone in between the tackles. That's also throwing it on the edges to Emeka, running bubbles, getting the ball out quick. Make it hard on the defense. And again, I've said it the whole time, I would tempo these guys to death, because when they've got 10 to 12 defensive linemen that play, if you tempo and don't sub, then all of a sudden those guys can't get out of the game. So they're used to subbing, and all of a sudden they don't get to sub. And it's like they're operating at half power. So that is reason number 3. Nevada, reason number 2 for you.
Experience at quarterback. I mean, as much as the fan base hates Will Howard, and they do, I mean, the fan base has really kind of been waiting for Will to have a bad game so they could jump up and down and go, I told you he'd have a bad game. He makes a bad throw every game. Well, Nico Imaleva, I mean, statistically, he's not in the same galaxy. From an experience standpoint, he's a freshman, even though he played in 2023. He's got 12 starts under his belt. Will's closing down to 50. Experience at quarterback in a game like this is going to be absolutely humongous. And Nico's been very mediocre on the road. And this is going to be about as challenging an environment from a pressure standpoint, from a crowd standpoint, from a weather standpoint. And, Nico's a guy, you mentioned earlier, if you hit him, he could tap out. So Nico's he could absolutely tap out on this game tomorrow. And I'm going to call it right now. I will say that Nico will start the game, but will not finish the game for Tennessee. And I think Will Howard's experience, his size, strength, and Will's been tremendous this whole year. He had a poor game against Michigan, along with a lot of other people. He had a lot of company. A lot of other people had poor games against Michigan, but Will's been great this year. Nico I think he's 36 in QBR, has not been great. So I think the experience at quarterback is reason number 2, while Ohio State ultimately ends up on top tomorrow night.
I think reason number 1 is going to be Ryan Day. I mean, Ryan Day, this is his OK Corral, and this is it. I mean, he's got it's kind of like being the president, when you've got the lowest popularity rating in the history of your tenure. Like, this is it for Ryan. So he's got to pull out every stop known to God, man. If these players really care about him, they're going to play hard tomorrow, and they're going to leave it out there, and they got to lock it in, play fast. Try not to make mistakes, but mistakes happen sometimes. But you gotta play hard. You gotta play physical. And Ryan's coaching for. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's coaching for his job, but again, you can't lay an egg versus Tennessee at home in the playoffs when you're a 7-point favorite. So I think Ryan's gonna pull out a lot of stops. I think he's gonna coach angry. He's got to find some buttons with this team that he hasn't been able to find yet that can get this team to activate and play at the level that they need to play at. And I think that if these kids really care, they'll play hard for them, and if they don't, they don't. So again, it's a peculiar time because Ryan's winning percentage has been stellar, but he hasn't been good versus teams with equal talent. That's been his issue. And these guys, they're not as talented.
But Kirk, I got a question for you. Did you think we didn't play hard against Michigan?
No, I thought we played hard against Michigan.
Yeah,
we just missed 2 field goals. I mean, you can't say we didn't play hard, especially on defense. It's like, like Jack Sawyer played really hard on defense. There's a lot of guys that really left it out there, and Yeah, you're just at the mercy of the fact that we refuse to get a transfer portal accurate kicker, and it kills us. So, we don't have an NFL kicker. We haven't had an NFL kicker since Mike Nugent 20 years ago. So, again, in the era of the transfer portal, where Michigan goes out and gets a kicker in the portal that can make a 56-yard field goal, like I don't know what our recruiting guys do. Like I don't know if they just read our message boards all day, but eventually you have to go get a guy that can make those kicks. I don't know what could be a higher priority. I know everybody wants tackles, but like get us a kicker that can make those kicks so that we can actually win those games. Because it breaks my heart that Jack Sawyer and some of these guys who sold out, they sold everything to get this win, and we missed a couple field goals. And again, I'm not. It's like I'm not blaming Jaden Felding, but when the lights are bright, man, that's when they need you. And again, I played with Mike Nugent, who's the best kicker in the history of the school, and when we needed Mike, man, that nails. And again, I also played with Josh Houston, who missed the kick against Texas, and so trust me, in a world where you can go out and literally recruit the best kicker in the country to go to the best offense in the country, I just think that we whiffed, So, but yeah,
the challenge on that, and this is a rare area of disagreement with you and I. But I mean, you lived through this. I mean, Mike Nugent might have been the worst kicker in the history of Ohio State his freshman year.
He was awful. I know. Awful.
He was 7 for 14. And I just wonder, like in the era of the portal and the era of now, if Mike Nugent goes 7 for 14 his freshman year, does he get a sophomore year at Ohio State, or is he sent to the cornfield and we go get Jesus Fernandez the first from Eastern Michigan or something like that? I mean, right?
Again, that's like one of those things where he's probably lucky he didn't play in the portal era. Because again, to me, like kicker is something. It's kind of like quarterback, like how you see teams like Notre Dame and Oregon, who they get new quarterbacks every year, a new graduate transfer Riley Leonard to. Notre Dame's gonna have a graduate quarterback every single year now. That's gonna be their thing, and I don't know why you don't do that with a kicker. Again, I think it's one thing to bring in an offensive tackle where you have to learn the offense. Like a kicker just has to kick. A quarterback's different. Obviously, if you can get an excellent quarterback, it's worth it. But I don't know. Like I said, it's tough because when you're trying to develop a kicker, eventually it's like the development costs you the Michigan game where he kicks the balls out of bounds. And again, like I don't know. Because again, like I said, Michigan's guy went out and aced a 55-yard field goal, and he was from whatever dinky school they got him from. So again, like kicker's one where I would be getting a new one in the portal every year. I would stop recruiting them out of high school because the kids in high school are such Fruit Loops. Like I wouldn't. Again, you do the Australian punter thing where you get a 25-year-old punter who played rugby for a few years. I get that, but the kicker is just so important. And again, when you can farm a MAC kicker or some of these kickers that are excellent, like, and they hit the portal, like, I just don't know how you can't say, hey, look, you can come play here in the best offense in the country, and we need you, and come get signed up. And again, Jaden Felding might end up breaking Adam Vinatieri's record and have the most points in the history of the NFL. I don't know. Maybe and I can be dead wrong. I hope he points me out, but it kills me that I see these guys and how close they are, and we can't find a kicker that's accurate. When's the last time we had a kicker? I know we had the Rose Bowl where it was the same guy that missed the kick against Georgia, but like outside of that, I've just never been like, man, this is great having an ace, especially when they can really drive it and hit the 50-yarder. That's crazy that we can't hit 50-yard field goals at Ohio State when Michigan's they're gonna have 2 straight kickers go to the league that can hit consistently from the mid-50s. Because Moody in Michigan or for San Francisco is a mid 55-yard guy, and so is the guy they had this year. So I don't know. Like I said, but again, it hurts. Again, like you have to adjust your strategies in recruiting and in portaling because now it's all one big pot of new players essentially. And kicker, man, I would never take a high school kicker again for the rest of my life. I'd go find one. I'd pay him.
Would you do the Notre Dame thing on quarterback? Would you just go get a quarterback every year?
It just depends on who the quarterback is. Honestly, as great as it is.
Well, what does that mean? What does that mean? You won't know who the quarterback.
If Quinn Ewers wanted to come to Ohio State next year, I would take him, and Julian Saint can go wherever he wants to go, and that's what it is. Because that's a first roundish type quarterback guaranteed, as opposed to going through the growing pains of potentially having a new quarterback. Like if Cam Ward had another year of eligibility and said, hey, I want to go to Ohio State and leave Miami, I would take him in a heartbeat. I don't care about, again, I think Julian Saint's
So
great.
so
Good.
so so you so you would and sorry to interrupt you because I'm this is
Hmm.
generally fascinating to me because we haven't
Hmm.
this is one conversation we have not had.
Yeah.
So you would jettison Tavian St. Clair and Julian Saint
Well,
and
I don't,
just
I don't think you'd lose Tavian St. Clair. I think you'd have a 1 year bridge quarterback that could,
but you
hold it
would
down.
but
You'd probably lose
but you
Julian Saint
yeah you would lose Julian Saint for that and but I mean
for Quinn Ewers. Yeah, in a heartbeat.
okay, and then
Absolutely.
the next year, if another guy came available, I mean, but again, would you commit to that thing? Would you be like,
It just depends on who it is. I mean, that's the problem. Is it just depends on who it is. Because like again, I'm not going to do it for if Tavian St. Clair is the guy, like I'm not going to do it and bring in you know if Justin Fields is in the portal, yeah, I'm taking him. I mean, if Quinn Ewers is in the portal, yeah, I'm taking him. But it's like I'm not going to do it for just a guy who's a moderate upgrade because he's older. Like I wouldn't do it for Notre Dame's quarterback. Like I wouldn't punt, you know, Julian Saint for that. I'd do it for yours in a heartbeat. If it's a guy that could be a first rounder, he's going to come back for a year, then I'm doing
interesting,
that. Because again, I just think
interesting.
that, and if I'm Ryan Day, I'm definitely doing it. Because again, let's be realistic. Next year, we're going to take a step back. I mean, we're not going to have Will Howard, and as much as people hate Will Howard, Julian Saint is going to have all kinds of hiccups and whatever. So I'm sure that eventually we probably won't be thrilled about him too. But he's the highest rated quarterback in the country coming out, and so what? You're laughing because you know I'm right, right?
What that Ohio State fans are going to hate Julian Saint?
Oh, absolutely.
What do you on the Barton book, the Barton sports
No.
book? What is that? What are the odds on that? Can you
Oh,
check that for me?
minus 10,000. I mean, minus a
I
hundred
think
thousand. I mean,
I think
it's
it's
because
low. I think it's
yeah,
low.
minus a million. It's like because again, like you understand, like Julian Sand is gonna have to show up, and again, he's gonna be a true sophomore or a redshirt freshman. I mean, I don't think he played enough to play to burn his redshirt. I can't. I don't know. I don't really care. But like he's gonna be the new guy. And again, learning on the job as a young quarterback is very difficult. And again, when you've got you're kind of a new O line. Now you're still gonna have JJ and you're still gonna have Carnell Tate and Anna, so that'll be great. But there's gonna be there's gonna be hiccups. And again, Will Howard had statistically as good of a year, if not a better year, than Troy Smith had when he won the Heisman. And our fan base can't wait for him to leave. So it's like, I don't know how much better you guys think it's gonna get. But I mean, again, I'm just realistic. I lived through Troy Smith as a redshirt sophomore, middle of the season, and like he wasn't the Heisman winning choice. No, he was excellent, and he really hit a massive upswing in that Michigan game in '04. But and again, I'm not blaming Troy because the O line wasn't great in front of him. The skill guys were playing the wrong guys. So yeah, I don't know, we're gonna have a true sophomore quarterback starting next year. So I mean, it's as much as people hate Will Howard, like I think Will Howard's pretty damn good, and I would if there was a way we could get Will Howard back for another year, I'd take it a heartbeat. But that's just reality. Like again, like this isn't Madden. This is something where guys like they have to go out and play real football. They can't just play in practice. They can't just play at the end of a game versus Central Western Michigan, whoever we played, Akron. They've got to go play. And again, when they play, you got to remember, like we're opening up with Texas and Arch Manning, who's probably going to be the Heisman favorite. So it's going to be Arch Manning versus Julian Saint. And Texas is going to be absolutely loaded next year. And again, I'm not trying to be whatever, but it's like, look, that's going to be a very difficult game for him to make his debut. And he doesn't get started off with Akron or Youngstown State. He's playing the Texas Longhorns in the game of the week in a night game in the Horseshoe. So again, if he throws a couple picks versus a really good defense and a very young offensive line, then potentially like he might get booed a little bit. And people might say, we want Tavian St. Clair or we want whoever. Because again, Nevada, you've been around for 60 years of following this, and this is the most predictable thing in the history of mankind. And again, that makes me nervous. So if you said, Kirk, would you rather have Quinn Ewers start that game? Yes, I would. Because I just like if I have a fifth-year senior veteran who's beaten Alabama and shoot in a heartbeat. Now again, that's just me, and I could be dead wrong. And people could say, Kirk, you're a moron. I'd rather start a true sophomore who's never started a game in his life versus Texas. That's great. That's their prerogative. But I'm also a realist, and I want what's in the best interest of Ohio State football. So that's my opinion.
Yeah,
Do you disagree?
well, I think the only other consideration, I think, look, just from a straight football standpoint, I think that makes sense. But I think you've got another consideration in there, which is finite NIL dollars. And what the price would be for a Quinn Ewers. I mean, if people like Zen Mikulski is probably going to get $700,000-$800,000 to go play elsewhere. That's the market. That's a fact. So run that around in your head. Zen Mikulski, that's what he's commanding. What would a top-notch quarterback like a Quinn Ewers command in the marketplace? So if you have finite NIL dollars and you've already got a quarterback on the roster, it's kind of like the way that San Francisco's in it right now with Brock Purdy, where they've got Brock Purdy on a rookie contract or something like that. Like, do you go spend 50% of your NIL money on a veteran quarterback, 1-year rental, lose your cheaper alternative in there? And I mean, I don't know. There's just so many dimensions to this that go beyond just, how will you play in the first game of the season against Arch Manning in the Horseshoe next year. Because I think it has there's a cavalcade of impacts that it has going on. Get it? Because believe it or not, the amount of money that Ohio State has, there is a limit to it. At some point, people, the donors, the NIL collectives, the school says no mas. We don't have more money. We don't have Larry Ellison standing there going, I will write unlimited amounts of checks to make my 9th wife happy. It doesn't matter to me. That is not the situation that we're in. So until they put guidelines on, and I'm hopeful that they're going to establish guidelines, but until they put that on, give it some teeth, and really establish boundaries, man, that strategy does, there is a downside to it from a financial standpoint. And that I just wanted to, that was just something that just leapt to my mind as I was thinking about that.
So you're saying that Julian Saban is better than Will Howard and we're going to beat Texas. Got it.
I did say. You
can't wait for that Will Howard guy to get out of here. I see you. That's fine. Look at you. Pull the mask off. You're like the Scooby-Doo villain. They pull the mask off. It's really, it's Nevadabuck. He liked Will Howard all year. Now he doesn't.
The fan, it's so funny. I heard Saban calling out the Ohio State fan base today, and the fans were like, why is he saying that? And I'm like, because we have a bad fan base. We do. We have a fan base that is so spoiled and so soft and so entitled. And so he just calls it out. People hate hearing it, but it's true. I mean, it's so true. And the fact that they can turn on really good kids like JT Barrett, like Will Howard, like Jack Sawyer. I mean, like those are some of the most hated players in Ohio State history, and they're some of the best kids. And some of the, they're not perfect. No, Jack doesn't have 15 sacks. No, Will Howard, didn't complete 80% of his passes. He only completed 77% of his passes. But like, come on, guys. Like, we have to get beyond this. We're gonna boo you. We're gonna be mad at you. We're gonna fire you. Because we have this vision of perfection in our head that doesn't exist anywhere in your personal life or anywhere else in any facet of any part of your being, but exists in. And I'll ask the time, like people, Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles is one of the most hated defensive coordinators. I'm like, okay, what defensive guy? Who's the coordinator that you want? Who give me the name. Just one name of who do you want? Nobody can give me a name.
Jeff Halfley.
Nobody can give me a name.
The GOAT. Jeff Halfley.
Nobody.
He never lost a game ever.
Nobody can ever give me a name.
Except Clemson.
Seriously.
Chris Ash.
Oh, it's so
actually
funny.
No, your boy Mark D'Antoni. He never lost a game either. Mark D'Antoni.
Oh my God. Oh, it's so. Mark D'Antoni hates his grandkids though because he went back to coaching. He said, "I'll never go back because I love my grandkids." It's like, no, they were like,
he's gonna go coach in the USFL. He interviewed for it.
Exactly. I hate my grandkids. I hate them.
He's tired of that shuffleboard court, boy.
I want to get that video of Barry Alvarez screaming at his grandkid at the Rose Bowl. That's one of my all-time favorite videos. But the grumpy grandpa. But no, I look, the family. We need to have a reality check, guys. Ohio State football isn't perfect, and if all you're focused on solely is this perfection of results instead of really stepping a step back and looking at the process, I am more of a process person. Are you doing things right? If you do things right long enough, you'll win in the end, and you're gonna. But if you just focus on results, you can get derailed by bad variance, bad luck. Nobody has had more bad luck than Ryan Day. Nobody's had more bad luck than Ryan Day. But seriously, flags picked up after they're thrown,
Targeting,
spots changed,
targeting on Marvin
calls.
Harrison.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no targeting to be found.
I mean, it's just absolutely insane the
Ugh.
stuff that's happened to that guy. But he does things right. He doesn't now. That doesn't mean he's perfect, and that doesn't mean we can't criticize a really bad game plan against Michigan or whatever it is. But man, overall, he's a really good coach, a really good young coach, and we should be supporting this guy. We should be supporting and pulling for him. And it shouldn't be he's feeling the weight of the world and just like, oh my gosh, we're gonna run this guy out of town. Um, I frankly hate that side of Ohio State. I really, really do, because nobody operates well under that kind of pressure, Kirk. You know yourself. Like, there's enough pressure that you put on yourself to be good in your everyday life, in your professional life, in your personal life. When you played, did you need somebody else out there screaming at you every minute that if you missed a block, that there was? I mean, like, is that going to really help you be better? Well, that's kind of where we're at with Ryan Day right now. It's just like, you better get it done. And then when we get it done, it's never enough. You get it done and it's like, well, okay, well, now you got to win the next one. Now, okay, you managed to beat Tennessee.
That team wasn't good.
They weren't good. They lost Arkansas.
They lost Arkansas. They weren't any good.
So, I mean, I don't know. I that was my little speech for the day. It's probably it'll fall on deaf ears, but had to say it. So there you go.
that was great. Yeah, I mean, like, trust me, I feel bad for these kids that are so excited to come here, and by the time they're done, they're just like, God, this is terrible.
It's terrible.
Like, I feel bad for some. It's like, man, best damn fans in the land. And I'm like, and again, I love Ohio State, and I love the passion. And again, the difference between me and these kids, and most of the people that are around the thing, is I just recognize it. Like, I know what it is. Again, I'm like, I know that, like, we eat our own at Ohio State, which again, I'm fine with. Like, again, like I said, because I've lived it. I've lost, again, you're talking to a guy who's lost national championship games and had to go to class the next day. Like, I mean, like, you want to talk about fun. You get to go walk to campus. It's like, hey, what happened? Oh, wasn't good. We got smashed. So it's like, I don't know. Like I said, I know what it is. If you guys want this, the surest parlay in life of all time, whoever our offensive line coach is will be hated. Whoever our offensive coordinator is will be hated. Whoever our defensive coordinator is will be hated. And whoever our sorry, it's my boy. Oh, it's a GA. Whoever our quarterback is will eventually be hated. I mean, people hated CJ Stroud. They hated Haskins. It doesn't matter how high they get drafted. Doesn't matter. So again, that's fine. Like, again, it's literally, it's like the Batman movie. It's like live long enough to become the villain. Yeah, it's like if you like stick around long enough, you're going to become the villain. They're not going to like you, no matter what you do. I mean, people hated. It's funny you talk about Jackson. Like, people hated Nick Bosa because he tore his stomach or whatever, and he took the season off. And again, he ended up going second overall, and he's made $150 million in the league, so he's done fine. But it just kind of is what it is, So again, I don't like it. I wish that our guys were. I mean, there were people that didn't like Ted Ginn. Teddy's like the nicest human being in the world, and they didn't like him, thought he was soft, like whatever. So I don't know. There's very few guys like, I mean, there's the guys that I know that have been tough, like AJ Hawk. I've never heard anybody say they don't love AJ Hawk, but outside of him, man, there's just not very many of them. But again, I'm with it. I like it. I love the passion. I think it should be tuned a little differently, because like sometimes, man, these kids just get beat to death or whatever. It's like, I love Will Howard. And again, I know that he lost. I know that he played with an injury versus Michigan after he got hit. And again, I give him credit for that. Cause like, he didn't have to come back in, but he wanted to gut it out. And again, when you go out there hurt and you gut it out, they don't grade on a curve. They don't give you bonus points if you go out there hurt and play, which he did. And he was a shell of what he should have been. He's healthy now, thank God, from the people I talked to and what he is. But it just, and again, I'm not making an excuse for him. It's just a fact. I mean, I've played injured and not felt great out there. I mean, when we played LSU, I had a pulled hamstring. I had to play against LSU, the number 3 pick of the draft, and like played okay. Didn't play great. Didn't have any power, but I wasn't gonna sit that one out and stand there like a douchebag with my sweat, in a sweatsuit while my team's playing in the national championship and I'm a captain. So strap it up. Let's go. So it's all good. We got a bunch of super chats. Anything else, Nevada, other than the diatribe. That was actually excellent. I like that.
Well, no, I was just vision of you standing in the sideline of the LSU game in your red tracksuit, watching everybody else play.
You know, it's funny. We had a defensive end who was hurt, and he came back, and he could have played in the game. He probably could have given us 10 to 15 plays, and he literally told us that he didn't want to play because he didn't want to put out bad film for the NFL scouts. That's a true story before the LSU game. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, and again, this guy never played a snap in the NFL. Wasn't good enough to play in the NFL. He literally did not dress for the game because he didn't want to put out bad film for the NFL. And I was just like, if I ever live like that, I hope that my wife shoots me in the head, because I'm never going to go out like that. I mean, if I can walk, I'm going to go. If I can shoot it up, I'm going to go. If I can't play, because again, the best part about my career is in the middle of it, I got hurt. I tore my knee up, my MCL, which is like a 3 to 4 week injury. That was the most miserable 3 weeks of my entire life because I couldn't play. I couldn't help. And again, the beauty of Ohio State is you see how powerful Ohio State is, because when I was hurt, they left me home and the game went on and they still won. And it was like the train kept rolling down the tracks. And I was sitting there at the station and I was like, this is terrible. So I was like, I'm never going to get, as long as I don't tear an Achilles or an ACL, like whatever else, anything short of that, man, I'm rolling. And I'm just telling you, there's nothing more miserable than being hurt, because it sucks. Buckeyes won. Thanks for the 5. Men of the Scarlet and Gray. Buckeye Nation supports you. Go Bucks. Very positive. I love it. Buckeye won. I hope you're having a great Friday night. So again, I support these guys, man. There's nothing in the world I want more than for Jack Story to win a national title. It'd be the greatest thing of all time for me, because I love that kid, and I just hope that he goes out on his shield like an well. Larry Daniels, thanks for the 5. As you stated before, why doesn't our line take out the D-line's knees a couple times to slow them down? I have no idea. Alabama does it on the backside of their zone plays. They cut those guys, and you got to understand, cutting guys in the running game and in the passing game is completely legal. There's nothing dirty about it, and teams do it all the time. Like if you watch Army Navy, there's ACLs laying all over that field because they're cutting on the backside of a lot of their zone plays. And I used to tell Jim Bowman, again, I was blessed, and again, you guys all hated Jim Bowman because you thought he was a terrible line coach, showable coordinator, whatever. But he was the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator. And for me, that was awesome, because I could say, these are the plays I like. Call these runs, especially as we got into the flow of the game. If I was dog walking a guy or prison beating a guy at defensive end, I was like, call this, because this guy can't. I'm going to eat this guy alive, and I would. And so, but I'd always say early in the game, call some 3-step drops, because when we call 3-step drops, which is basically where a 3-step drop basically means the ball's coming out very quickly. So for those who aren't familiar with football vernacular, it's like basically shotgun, catch the ball, 1, 2, 3, out, ball's gone. So on something like that, you can cut the defensive front. And so I always wanted to have some early, empty 3-man stuff where I could cut. And man, I used to love that, because when you cut early in the game, they know that you're going to cut, and they're always looking for it because they don't want to get their ACL blown out. So again, if I could put my helmet into their kneecap, for one, especially the way these guys, they wear these Bermuda shorts now, because they're all like, I don't know what they are. I don't want to say anything offensive, but it's like they all wear like these super short shorts now, because they don't even wear pads to cover their knees. I'm like, oh my God, I would have put my helmet into their kneecaps on every play, even if they didn't call it. And I'd have had Justin Fry bench me for doing it, but I'd have been taking shots in those kneecaps all day. But we don't do it. We're gentlemen offensive linemen, I guess, but I wouldn't have been. Nevada, do you wish that we would take some more shots on these guys?
Yeah, I don't know why we don't. There are many things that I wonder about the offensive line and how they're being coached, but it doesn't matter. Let's get it done tomorrow night, whatever they're doing, and hopefully it's all good.
Well, and to be clear, like Oregon did it to our guys. Oregon full cut off our D line. So this isn't like this is some hill jack, like we're not good enough to block them type thing. Like Oregon, who's number 1 in the country, cut our guys. They did 3-step, and their O line all cut our D line, and they fell down like trees. So it's like, this isn't like we can't block them, so we got to do stuff like that. It's like, no, it's just something that's, it's like having the bomb and not being scared to drop it. The Wade Sterling, thanks for the 5. Appreciate you. The pessimistic Buckeye fans are like day coaching against Michigan. They're cheering not to lose. Wake up, Buckeye Nation. Yeah. I mean, I think the bad things, I think some of the pessimistic Buckeye fans are cheering for us to lose at this point. Nevada, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think look, it's going to be interesting. Tomorrow is going to be mind blowing for some people because it won't be as many Tennessee fans as a lot of people. It's not going to be 40% Tennessee fans or whatever, but you're going to see more visiting fans in the shoe tomorrow than ever in the history of the shoe. It will be, and so I think a lot of people's minds are going to be blown. So it's incumbent upon everybody else that's there to just be that much louder and. It's time. It's time. This is the one time when you can actually play a role. This is the one of the few things you could do. As I said many times, you can give money to NIL, or you can cheer, or you can do both. So tomorrow night we get a chance to cheer. Everybody be loud, and it's time.
All right, Beach Buck, thank you for the 20 all season. KB said only keep day if he loses close in college football final game yesterday. He said if we lose a close game versus Tennessee, if we lose, I will be at his garage with a moving truck. Why change? I mean, I don't know. I think that you have to look at who could we possibly get. Could we get Mike Vrabel? Does he even want this job? I think he's going to the Patriots. I think they're going to can Mayo because he's been terrible this year. Especially if you can get Josh McDaniels, who did not go to North Carolina with Belichick, which opened my eyes a little bit that he's probably waiting for that Patriots job to open up with Rabes as the head coach. I don't know. Like again, I think that Ryan, he can't get blown out tomorrow, but if it's close, then I mean, guys, it's $37 million. We talk all the time about how much it costs to fund a team and the NIL and all that. Like, that's a lot of money to write a check for just for him. Then you have to pay the rest of his staff out for $8-10 million. So it's like, that's a lot of money to get a guy who might not be a clear upgrade. Now, if Urban Meyer wants to come back, which, again, he says he doesn't, but I think I know better. That's different, but I don't know if he wants the smoke, because again, with Urban, you're going to have to guarantee him an ungodly amount of NIL money because he's not going to come back and be clipping coupons. And that's kind of, where we're at, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. But there's such a variance of outcomes tomorrow that it's hard to project, but Ross Brewer came out and he did the Ryan's safe and he'll be coaching in 2025. But if we get curb stomped tomorrow, then I don't know how you walk that one back. But again, I don't think we're going to. So I think it's going to be a moot point. Nevada, your thoughts. Again, Beach Buck, thanks for the 20. Appreciate you, my man. Merry Christmas. Says all season, KB said keep day if he loses close in the college football final game. Yesterday, I said if we lose a close game versus Tennessee, I will be at his garage with a moving truck. Why change? I mean, I don't know. It just depends. I mean, it just depends on how the game goes. I mean, again, it's like people say, well, if he loses, is it, if it's triple overtime and we lose we miss a 2-point conversion, like, do we want to bullet Ryan Day? I don't think so. If we lose 77-0 tomorrow, might want to think about it. What are your thoughts, Nevada?
Yeah, if the team has quit on Ryan Day and he's clearly lost the locker room, I think that would be the only scenario where I would make a move. Otherwise, short of having Urban Meyer in my hip pocket and guaranteed and done, not that hasn't happened before and not that couldn't happen again, but short of that, just be careful what you wish for. Do you want to turn over not only the head coach, but your entire staff and probably your entire roster? And maybe that turns out good. Maybe everything turns out great, but maybe you get a bad outcome out of that. And there are a set of possible outcomes that are much worse than this horrible present that we're experiencing right now. So I just think be careful what you wish for. Make a good decision. Make a thoughtful decision. And as for KB or Nevada changing their mind about things, and I always say a smart person always reserves the right to change his mind based upon the facts. And so, I think the big confounding fact is, for me, I won't speak for you, but for me, it's just I see teams like USC with Lincoln Riley struggling when that seemed like the surest putt of all time, and I'm just like, man, just be careful what you wish for in terms of getting it, and I'm not sure if making the play. I mean, Alabama would love to be in the playoff right now, but they're not. They're at home with Kalen DeBoer, so be careful what you wish for. And I'm rooting for Ryan's success tomorrow, and I really do think we're going to have it. I firmly believe we're going to have it. So, like you said, I think it's all a moot point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're veteran, we're talented, and again, it's a great point about if you fire Ryan, there's a good chance you lose JJ, Caleb Downs. Like, I mean, Caleb Downs just left last offseason because he committed to play for Nick Saban, and Saban's gone, and Caleb Downs has no allegiance to Ohio State. Loves it here, but he came to play for Jim Knowles and Ryan Day. So you get a new coach, like they're not going to retain Jim Knowles and Chip Kelly, and I mean, they might retain. Usually, they'll retain one guy, and that's it. So again, it's a lot. It's a lot tougher. This isn't the NFL. This isn't where, hey, if I fire the guy, we still have the whole roster intact and everybody under contract is still under contract. If you fire someone in this thing, it's 40 guys at the portal immediately, and you got to go kind of backfill it. And I don't know. Is it worth doing that? I don't think so. This is my opinion. Beth and Karis, what is up? Thank you for the 50. Merry Christmas to you guys. I hope you guys are having a great Friday night. And thank you for being on the as well. Okay, have a very good feeling about tomorrow. Well, that is wonderful by both of you. I appreciate you guys. No negativity allowed. Thank God. You guys are the best ever for actually writing that out. Only positive vibes. Last couple of months for Beth and I, where we could only pay rent. Today got a bonus cut up on all the bills. Beth's job is a blessing. Congrats, Beth. I'm very happy for you and that you got your gig rolling. We love the Scoop family. Natty 2024, Nevada OH. So Beth and Karis are two of the greatest human beings in the world, and I sit with them at the Scoop meetups, and they're there with Steely, and we got like the hardcore that are there the whole time, and they sit with me, and I'm usually walking around sweating like a hog. So everyone wants to talk, and I try to talk to everybody, but Beth and Karis are always there to cheer me up when I'm rolling around and I need to take a break, so I always park it next to those guys. But love you guys to death. You guys deserve all your blessings. You guys are great people. Again, I appreciate all that you guys do, being on here and kicking it every night, being in the chat. You guys are the best. And Beth, I'm so happy you got a gig that you love, and things are cooking now. So again, big things in 2025. Again, it's a good year, guys. I mean, we're above ground, we're upright. We've got great families, so celebrate that. I know that like some people like to be doom and gloom and down in the dumps, but I'm like, guys, if you're above ground and you're in America, you're winning. I promise you. So I mean, that's where I'm at, and this is the best year of my life, and happy about the direction of everything we got going and all the people I've met. And, we'll have another great meetup. We're probably going to do the spring game again at Buffalo Wild Wings because that was just an insane success. So we'll do that again. And can't wait to see all you guys. So again, Merry Christmas. And Beth and Karis, just love you guys to death, man. I'm so glad everything's going great. And, have a great Christmas. And again, I appreciate you guys being on here. Daryl Mosby, thank you for the 10. How much do you think cold weather hydration will affect the team? Overdressing in cold weather can be harmful to performance. OSU should be one extra layer, if that. Let UT layer up. Nevada OH. I don't think it's going to be a big deal because the guys have been outside practicing in it. So you kind of figure out what you need to wear. Like I would never wear, I mean, if you guys see me out and about right now, I wear flip-flops and shorts and it's 30 degrees out. And I wear that every day. I don't care. People look at me like I'm crazy, and I probably am crazy, but it doesn't really affect you that bad, especially when you're playing. And in 2007, that Michigan game I played in was the coldest game of all time. It was 35 degrees, freezing rain the entire game. It never stopped raining, and it was icy cold. So I survived. There was no hypothermia. And, when you're in the game, like, you're fine. And the guys that are on the sideline, they'll have jackets on, so whatever. But I don't think it really matters when you're running around. And you've seen guys playing way colder weather, like in Green Bay and Buffalo and some of these crazy NFL games with extreme cold, and they can go sleeveless and survive. So I think if you wear all the extra stuff and it gets into your head, then it can change your output, and you don't want to do that. So Nevada, your thoughts on overdressing in cold weather? Now, Nevada is a snowflake, so he'll be up there dressed to the gills with probably a ghillie suit on and big old balaclava looking through it and stuff, and a shiesty mask and the whole nine. But Nevada, more importantly, what are you wearing to the game tomorrow?
I'm literally dressing like the little brother from A Christmas Story or something like that.
I've got you can't put your arms down.
I can't put my arms down, but I'm telling you, I think the weather is going to be an issue for Tennessee. I really do. And I was up in Green Bay on Thanksgiving night watching the Packers play against the Dolphins. And I know these are NFL guys. I know these are guys from all over the country and experienced and this and that. And let me tell you what, it was not as cold as it's going to be on Saturday night in Columbus. And Miami wanted nothing to do with that game. They did not want to be there. As soon as they got behind, they tapped out. And I think the cold weather is going to be. I think it's going to be an issue. And hit Nico. Nico's a kid from Long Beach. A kid from you hit him a couple times, he will tap. And you watch when that happens. Think of Nevadabuck, and you try to high five me, but my arms will not be able to come down because I am like the little brother from Christmas Story. But I'm going to be bundly warm up there, and I think Nico's going to tap, and I think Tennessee's going to struggle with the weather.
Is that like when you like you can't put your arms down? Is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
So you won't be able to reach for your wallet at all, will you? I knew it. I knew it.
I'm not doing it. I'm not. You don't. You know I'm not. You know I'm not doing it. No chance, man. No chance.
There's no way. You'll just like
Nope.
You'll be walking out. You'll be walking out in the third quarter before the tab comes. You'll just be like a little star walking down the road, and they'll be like, "Where'd he go? Oh, he couldn't reach his arms anyways." Oh my God, I love it. Larry Daniels won. Thanks for the fives. We'd also remember kicker Clemson that drilled the 56-yarder was a freshman. They are out there. Nevada, have we ever had a good freshman kicker before?
I'm trying to think about a good freshman kicker that we've. I mean,
a true freshman. I can't think of that.
Yeah. I mean, and again, like to your point. Now, do you invest in a kicker? Do you go through the growing pains? I just thought it was ironic that you cite Nugent. Who was one of the clutchest kickers ever. Legendary kicker.
Dude, I went to all those games that don't won. He was terrible. I totally understand
terrible.
what you're saying.
He would not. Terrible. He would not have survived.
Him and Josh Houston were the most hated players in the history of the program. I get it
because they were terrible. They were terrible. So
there you are, Mr. Negativity. There you are.
I'm just looking at it right now. I mean, they make Jaden Fielding look like I don't even know who Brandon McMahon is or whomever. I mean, just like he's I don't know. Do you invest in young kickers and do you go through the growing pains? Because invariably with young kickers, they'll miss a few. And Fielding hadn't missed it. He had that weird kicking thing with the 3 kicks out of bounds in that meaningless game early in the year. But he'd only missed 1 kick. He was he 60 of 61 kicks, 53 straight extra points, 7 of 8 on field goals, and then he missed 2 field goals. And now he sucks. So I mean, I know it's hard. I know life is hard, and I know we just gotta go. Well, he needs to be the best when the lights are the brightest, and we need to win the Michigan game. But
it'll be fun.
I mean, Mike Nugent would have been sent to. He would have been sent to the cornfield, man. I'd been like, "You're a bad man. You're getting sent to the cornfield." And I would have done the Billy Mummy thing and pointed at him and turned him into a Jack in the Box with a little head moving back and forth, side to side, and he'd be in the cornfield. And nobody be talking about Mike Nugent 20 years later about how great he was because he'd be in the cornfield.
Well, I mean, like your Packers got rid of their kicker and got McManus, and like how much better are they now?
Well, not only they went through Carlson, then they went through that other kicker they got from Tennessee, and then they got to McManus. No, having a dependable kicker is an unbelievable luxury. It's an unbelievable luxury. It is. It's very nice, but it's not
like it's like the Browns. Again, like getting a kicker that can kick in the NFL is a whole different ball of wax. Because like the Browns spent like a 3rd round pick on Cade York, who looked like the surest thing of all time when he was at LSU. Yep. 2019, the highest scoring, best offense in the history of mankind, and he's the lethal kicker. And he gets up there and he's just a mental midget and he can't make a kick. So all of a sudden you got to cut him and you go sign Dustin Hopkins, he stinks this year. But the year they signed him, he was amazing. So I don't know, dude. It's like I don't. I was just lucky because when we had Nuge, man, life was really, really good. And I was like, oh. Because our offense was really, really bad, and he was really, really good. He was. I mean, we played NC State, and he kicked 5 field goals, and we scored 1 touchdown. I think we had an interception that got ran down to the 1-yard line. I think we probably had 70 yards of offense the entire game, and we won like 22-14 or 17 or something stupid like that because of Nuge. Thank God. Daryl Mosby, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you. Will Dave finally go up tempo? 4 wide receiver, 1 back set. Did UT get into nickel dime? Is there anything to going tempo if the ball's placed on the hash closest to your bench? Make them run across the damn field. I like that. I think there's something to it because you can signal a little bit quicker, but I don't know. I think that they're always gonna be nickel because we're base 3 wide receivers, so the whole game is played in nickel defense now. Base defense is kind of gimmicky three. They play a nickel, the gimmicky nickel defense that is 90% of football is played in nickel defense now.
Gimmicky.
I hope he goes up tempo. I would love for him to go 4 wide. I don't know if he's going to. I would play Brandon Innes a lot this game, but it just has him in their thing. I think going closest to your bench, you can go a little bit quicker. I'd like to, if everything's balanced out, to run to the wide side of the field more and let these guys use their speed, but just my opinion. Nevada, your thoughts? Do you think Ryan will finally go up tempo?
They practice it. They practice it all the time. They see. I mean, I'd like to think that he will, but I for whatever reason he likes that joystick to get that one final look at the defense type of thing. But I'm hoping he can. I am confident they'll go tempo for at least a portion of the game. I don't know if they're not going to go the whole game, but they'll use it. They'll bring it out. They've been practicing too much not to bring it out, for a sustained period of time tomorrow, not just in the 2-minute drill. Definitely believe that.
All right. C. Brown, thanks for the 10. OSU underachieves. We have superior talent and tons of assets, but we can't finish. 06 LSU, which is interesting. We did not play LSU in 06. 07 Florida, we did not play. Well, I guess we did in January of 07, so I guess you get that one. 15 Michigan State, 19 Clemson, 21 Bama, 22 Georgia. This year Oregon and Michigan. We should have had the Saban run, but nope. I mean, that's 20 years of. I guess we only won, 2 national titles since the year 2000. So I guess that's kind of a downer, but. Yeah, we've been close a lot, and we've lost 3 national championship games, and we had a team. The 15 team should have won a national title. That was the best team in the country, and messed it up. But that's kind of life, It's a game of inches and opportunities, and there were some games we didn't close out, and some of it was we played terribly, we made dumb mistakes, so it's part of life, man. Nevada, anything to add to that?
Yeah, we weren't beating 21 Bama. I mean, 21 Bama. Yeah, 21 Bama was really good, and we've had some bad variants. Like I said, we've had some impossibly bad luck, and I would just talk 5 seconds on the difference between a reason and an excuse. A reason is a reason why something happened. An excuse is trying to make up some whatever reason to whatever about it. But when we talk about bad variants or impossible, those are reasons. Those are just solid reasons, and you have to accept as a better man. Small sample variance is a very real thing, and you just gotta accept that and embrace it. But
yeah, you can't plan on Ted Ginn breaking his leg on the first play.
No, exactly. Exactly.
If you take the best player off of every single team in the playoffs, if you take Dylan Gabriel off Oregon, the first play of the game, that's probably not going to be great for them if they play a really good team. So, just my opinion. Francis Plum, thanks for the 10. To the Fire Day crowd, stop. It is our enemies gaslighting us into a mistake. Michigan and the SEC hope we would be that soup to open our roster to the portal. If we must move on from Day, have a plan. I totally agree. Could not agree more. Very intelligent, very rational post. I appreciate you, my dude. Dion Jackson, thank you for the 10. Hope you're good, my friend. Oh, here we go. Had a Bama fan. Oh, thanks for being an Ultra member as well. Appreciate you, brother. I hope you're having a Merry Christmas season. I had a Bama fan trash talk me for hours last night. I find myself rooting for Michigan for the first time in my life. Been a Buckeye fan since the late 80s. Doesn't feel right still. Nevada OH. Well, I mean, Alabama's irrelevant now, so I don't know what he's trash talking about. They're playing nobody even knows what game they're playing in because they didn't make it. So, Nevada, have you ever actually rooted for Michigan to do anything ever?
Yeah, I want them to. I want the thing swallowed by a giant sinkhole. That's what I want them to do.
But you've never actually rooted for Michigan to win a game ever.
Never. I've never bet them. I've never rooted for them. No. I don't care how much. And like you said, Alabama could say, "Hey, we won 7 national championships." You know what you say? You did. That's congratulations. Where are you now? You're not even in the playoffs. So stop it. You're irrelevant. Go.
You're below SMU. Congrats.
Yep. Yes. Bye.
Jared A. Brandon, thank you for the 20. Thanks for being an member as well. Many Vol fans I know down here in Tennessee are heading up to the game. It's crazy, but my question is, if Ryan leaves, who's hired as head coach? By the way, I don't think Ryan is leaving, but I'd like to hear a name for fun. Nevada OH.
Nevada,
do you have a fun name to throw out there that's not Mike Vrabel?
Urban Meyer.
I think he's the guy. Like Urban's
I
the
do
guy.
too. I do too.
I mean, everyone says Mike Vrabel. I was like, nah, Urban, because Urban, he'd walk in there, he'd already have Mickey, he'd already have Pantoni, he'd have his whole staff. Ryan can go to wherever, and probably I'm not sure. I'm sure Chip Kelly probably wouldn't stay, but Urban would. I mean, there's a chance Urban would keep most of the staff. So I don't know. Like I said, Urban's 2 years younger than Kirk Cignetti, and Kirk Cignetti act like he's like the youngest, hottest, greatest coach of all time, and he's 62 and Urban's 60. So, and again, it's what I know. Urban loves working for Fox and making $2 million a year, which is an absolute crap ton of money. I totally get that. But if Ohio State threw $15 million a year at Urban, he'd be back on the sideline in a nanosecond. I know how he's wired and how it didn't go out. But he'd also need the huge NIL demand. Like that's the bigger thing with Urban is like he wants the NIL stuff, so that he can compete with anybody and roll. Because again, I just think that it's great. He was the greatest recruiter in one of the greatest in the history of college football. And for him to all of a sudden be able to buy players too, oh my God. It's like people are like, oh, the game's passing by. It's like, not that guy. If he had money too, oh my God. Eftrus, great. Thanks for the 5. Why does the Buckeye Sports Beat go out of the way to belittle this Buckeye football team this year? Go Bucks, beat the Vols. Nevada, why does the beat belittle our team?
Because it makes them feel better, and it caters to the least common denominator, to like the dumbest segment.
That's the real answer. Go ahead, keep
that
going.
But that is the real answer. That's who they play to. That's their crowd. That's the people that that's their constituency. Is the dumbest, loudest, most vocal, most the miserable fans, and that's who they like to talk to. That's red meat to their base, and that's why they do it. And that's why on our site we don't do that. We don't have that, and that's a conscious decision by Kirk and I. We're like, we're never going to run a sale. We're never going to have a discount. And if you're a douchebag, we're going to send you to the cornfield. So because we don't care. That's it. So
we really don't. Like I mean, again, it's like
we don't care.
It's like a nice club. It's like a nice restaurant. It's like if you have disruptive patrons at your bar or your restaurant or your club or whatever, like. How many good people will those people drive away just because they're like, man, I'd really like if Twin Peaks had like some idiot like gangbanger shoot the place up every other weekend. Like they're not going to let that guy stay. I mean, I've seen them 86 all kinds of people. Not a lot of come back. See ya. Because again, if it ruins the experience for the most of your folks, and those are the people they're going to talk with their wallets, and a lot of them they don't make a big stink. They just stop. They just leave. They say, okay, I'm good. I can get, you can go to a million other bars and give them your money and have a good time and drink the same beer and eat the same chicken wing or whatever. But that's kind of where we're at. Like we don't put up with that. Again, I'm really tight with a lot of the kids in this program. And it's like, it breaks my heart that they're kind of, this is it. But I mean, the beauty is this is it. They do have a chance to run the table. They do have a chance they have another life. Like this has never been possible. We had the rare thing with the Georgia game a couple years ago, but this is a chance to win the national title. And again, we're as good as anybody. And again, this is going to be a ferocious tournament. And again, I'm so excited for these guys for tomorrow. All right, Nevada, the game's about to kick off. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, just if you're coming to the game, be loud. I'm going to be there. Kirk is tapping out, hiding at home.
Okay. So here's the real reason. So your boy, again, I'm still debating on if I want to do the live stream or not. Again, if you guys want me to do the live stream, put it in the comments, put it in the chat. If you want me to do a live watch party, but one of us has to do a post game show because again, somebody, the Cowardly Lion, is going to be driving 30 miles an hour out of.
I wish. 30 miles an hour.
3 miles an hour out of his parking spot against the stadium. He'll be driving Miss Daisy blind, slow, ice sleeting. God. And so since we want to have a post-game show, I'm the guy I'm like the guy that Bane leaves behind in the airplane to die. Like that's me. Yeah. I don't get to go have fun at the game. I don't get to drink cocoa. I don't get to hang out with all my bestest buddies.
You make a good point. You make a good point.
I gotta say here, someone's got to keep the light. Someone's got to pay for someone gets to use the suite, and somebody has to pay for the suite.
Pay for
difference. It's like I'll be sitting here keeping the lights on so that the Nevada suite can go in.
Those are all excellent points. I retract my previous comments.
Nevada's like, I will enjoy it, and you will work and it'll all work out great
Yes.
because we're gonna have a post game show, and it'll be me, and everyone's say, "Where's Nevada?
Where's
He's hiding."
Nevada?
It's
He's
no,
hiding.
He's driving slowly down 670 to get to his hotel and have a good time, and I'll be sitting here just getting, and again, God, if we lose, I'll be sitting here taking the shrapnel.
We're not
the
losing.
napalm.
We're not losing.
Good, because if we do lose, I'm gonna call you. You can get on your Bluetooth.
We're gonna
car.
win, and you're gonna be in there celebrating and woohoo, woo, the whole night. You're just gonna be doing this, and it's gonna be a party. And I'm gonna miss that. I wish that I was there, but
instead you're just gonna be
pull out the red tracksuit for good luck.
I gotta see if I have it. If I have it, I'll wear it if we win.
Let's go. Let's go, baby.
Big Kool-Aid.
Big Kool-Aid.
Then call me Big Lade. Big
Lade.
Oh, God. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts? As we
go Ohio State. Beat the Vols.
Go Hot Cocoa. Nevadabuck. Hot Cocoa boy out. See ya. I appreciate you guys. Happy Friday. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like. Click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys kicking in with us each and every night. Another great show tonight. Again, if you guys are out Christmas shopping, be careful. Roads might get a little slick. Looks like it might start raining a little bit. But again, I appreciate all the support. Again, huge game tomorrow night. I will be going at minimum a post-game show. If you guys want me to do a live stream, just let me know. I just don't know how much interest there is. But it'd be paired up with YouTube TV. So I'll be watching that. So you guys can get it synced up. So, but again, love you guys to death. Merry Christmas. We're so blessed. One more game in the shoe in December. Like, how great is that? So excited about it. If you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys each and every day tuning in, kicking it, enjoying the content. It's always a blast to kick it with you guys. So thank you for all that you guys do. I hope you and your families get ready to have a great Christmas. It's kind of downhill now because we're like, a few days out, and not gonna be a lot of work getting done next week. So, but I appreciate you guys. So if you guys want to do something huge for us, please get on Apple Podcasts, type in Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe. Again, that is something that is a huge help for us. And I appreciate all you guys that have taken the time to do that. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. And thank you, Scoop family. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow post game. It's going to be a blast and maybe a live stream. So let me know in the comments if you guys want me to do it. If you got enough comments, we'll jump on here and we'll watch the game together. So again, appreciate you guys. You guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.